On today's episode of Let's Talk Drones, we have even more leaks. This time I'm not talking about the DJI Air 3S. We have leaks on a whole new drone from DJI. Believe it or not, we're going to be talking about them right here, right now. So let's talk drones. What's up? It's Chris, the Drone Geek, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Drones. Let's Talk Drones is brought to you by The Droning Company. Check them out online at thedroningcompany.com across all major social media platforms, and especially make sure you get subscribed to The Droning Company's YouTube channel. Just search The Droning Company here on YouTube, and you'll be given access to tons of content from The Droning Company, including videos from our most recent trip to CUAV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's been a few weeks now, but those videos are still worth checking out. The Droning Company at thedroningcompany.com and across all major social media platforms. Yes, this video is going to be short, sweet, and to the point because we only really have one leak to talk about, or at least one piece of information that was leaked to really speculate on. That has to do with the recent image that appears to show the DJI Mavic 4, at least what a lot of people are speculating to be the DJI Mavic 4. You'll see here in this image that was recently leaked, we have a really odd testing rig all strapped up here. We have a couple of handheld cameras as well as the Mavic 3 Pro there at the bottom. But then on top of all of that, you'll see a very interesting apparatus that appears to be some sort of a drone with a completely new housing for the gimbal and camera assembly. This is something we haven't seen from DJI before in this category of drone. And the reason that I'm confident that this is a drone, namely the Mavic 4, is because look at above the camera housing there, that spherical shape. You have two motors that we see pretty regularly on the Mavic series of drones. It's about the same size as every other Mavic that we've seen. So I am extremely confident that this is a drone, and for all intents and purposes, I'm pretty sure you would be too. And if I might add, this looks like a very interesting design for an all-new Mavic. We're going from that very sleek sports car-esque design that we've seen on fuselages in the past to something that looks much more cylindrical and in line with that spherical camera housing that we're seeing at the front of the drone. I'm not sure how this is gonna do in terms of flight, but knowing DJI, it's gonna be just fine. And if it isn't just fine, expect to see some modifications to the drone itself. This may not even be a final version of the fuselage. This may just be a test body, and we may see that more traditional build that we're used to, but there's a reason that I'm pointing this out. And that reason is, what if we finally got true 90-degree camera angle upward on the DJI Mavic 4? Now, that doesn't seem like something that a lot of people would want or even need, but think about this, all of the creative possibilities that you could possibly open up with that. If you remember correctly, when the DJI Mini 3 and Mini 4 came out, I had said that I expected to see increased upward camera tilt for a wider variety of creativity with your shots. And that's exactly what we got. We went from a 30-degree up tilt to a 60-degree up tilt. And now it looks like we could be getting a 90-degree up tilt with the Mavic 4. Why is this important? Well, think about this type of a shot. You're flying in a forest or even in a city. You've got skyscrapers or really tall trees, and you fly the drone through there and you point the camera directly upward. Now all of a sudden you've got this really cool parallax shot shooting straight up into the sky with the trees and the buildings hanging out over top of the lens. This is just one application of this type of technology. Of course, there's more practical applications for that when it comes to awareness with the drone and wanting to see what's above you before flying upward. It's gonna come in handy there. And of course, there are probably tons of other creative possibilities that I'm not stating or aware of at this point. Now, piggybacking off of the new design, or what appears to be a new design for what appears to be maybe the Mavic 4, I just want to talk about the size of the camera housing because it is beefy, and I mean beefier than the Mavic 3 Pro, which is saying something because a lot of people were concerned about how big the Mavic 3 Pro's camera housing was and whether or not the gimbal would be able to stabilize that, especially in severe wind conditions or headwinds. I don't think that the new design on the camera housing only has to do with the ability to get 90-degree upward shots or added aerodynamics. I think we're going to get a larger sensor yet out of the Mavic series. The Mavic 3 series, that's the Mavic 3 OG, the Mavic 3 Classic, and the Mavic 3 Pro, all have a 4/3 sensor. I think it's possible that we see an APS-C or Super 35 in this particular drone. Now, that's a really big sensor for a drone this size, so I could be way off there. We may just get a 4/3 sensor again that maybe has some added capabilities, maybe stacked sensor technology. It's hard to tell, but the camera housing on that drone in that picture is significantly larger than that of the Mavic 3 Pro. And the Mavic 3 Pro, again, had a huge camera housing for all three of those sensors that DJI was able to jam in there. At the very least, I think we're still going to have a 4/3 sensor with maybe, possibly, don't quote me, a 1-inch sensor for both of the additional telephoto cameras for that 77 and the 166mm focal lengths. Again, this is all speculation, and it's really early in the DJI Mavic 4 leak game for me to be making some firm statements about this. These are all just guesses at this point. But as we learn more, I'll be doing more videos on leaks for this drone because, as you know, the Mavic series is very near and dear to my heart. This is really important, an important release for me, and I hope that we can get this before any type of ban would come into play for DJI. But no matter what happens with that, it's really exciting to see them continuing to upgrade the Mavic series and make it more and more capable because it empowers people like you and me. The ones that maybe don't have the budget for an Inspire 3, but can definitely swing a Mavic 3 or a Mavic 4 in this case. It's just really exciting to see tools like this hitting the field and being so accessible from a price point perspective. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Are we going to see a 90-degree upward tilt? Are we going to see a new fuselage for the Mavic 4? And what do you think about the sensor sizes for any of the sensors on the camera? What size will they be? Will we finally get a Super 35, or will we have a 4/3 with maybe some increased sensor size in those telephoto cameras? Again, let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video and you love drone content shot by drones, about drones, and for drone pilots, my friend, this is the channel for you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and while you're at it, hit the bell icon too. You'll get a notification every time I post a new video. Until next time, I'm Chris the Drone Geek, and I'm out of here. See you later.
Yo, what you say? Steady screaming, YOLO.